all you gorgeous grinding go-getters out there. So if you are still hustling out the day to date in your real estate activities, that means that you survived 2023's real estate apocalypse. So congratulations on being a badass. This is the Texas Real Estate and Finance Podcast, and I'm your host, Mike Mills, a local mortgage banker here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, surviving right along with you. Trust me, I know the struggles. This is my own personal therapy and motivation sessions each week, so I appreciate each one of you tuning in and navigating this changing market with me. But today, I hope to get us all a little motivated and find the right tools to help take your game to the next level. You made it through 2023, so that means that you have some skills and you've been working your butt off, but so is everyone else. That is at least the people that are still playing the real estate game these days. So that means almost every agent out there now is good at what they do. They all communicate well. They all have their clients' best needs in mind. They all work hard and they're all professionals. So in order for you to make 2024 one of your best years and a success for you, that means that you're going to need to up your game a little bit. And my guest today is going to show you how. With 10 years of experience in the space and over 6,000 agents in the stable, he's unlocked the secret sauce to help you set yourself apart from the competition. But just like anything else, it isn't a quick fix and it's going to take hard work and effort. But if you're game, he's going to show you how to play the best. So, but like always, if you could help out this old bald mortgage guy, you can like, share, subscribe, review the podcast. It all helps me stay motivated to bring you these great guests each week that help us stay on task and reach our goals. I promise you I'll keep finding new impactful guests if you keep promising me that you'll share our little secret with your network. Now, let's start learning the rules of the real estate game that we can all love to play. And let me welcome Norman L. Kinsey III, CEO of Liftoff Agent. How you doing, Norman?
Let's go, dude. I'm loving the show, and you're giving me some inspiration, man. I love the intro and the way that you kind of navigated everything, and it's cool to be on StreamYard on another person's podcast. So thanks so much for having me, so I can then see contrast to what we're doing to add additional value to our podcast as well. This is awesome.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
So I appreciate you coming on. So just to let everybody know a little bit about who you are. So Norman's the CEO of Liftoff Agent. He hosts a podcast. He does, when we were talking coming into this, you've got about 10 other activities that you do, all related to real estate. So to know that to say that you don't know the top and the bottom of this entire thing would be an understatement. But also you are one of the most high energy people that I've ever met. And, when I came on your podcast and we talked the last time, and then, everything that I've seen, because I watch and pay attention to what you're doing out there. And, if anybody sits down and listens to your show or, watches any of your videos, you can't walk away like not feeling like you're ready to go run through a brick wall. So I appreciate that. But I love people like that. I try to be that way sometimes, but, every once in a while I can be a little bit of a Debbie Downer. But ideally, especially in order to get through last year, right? In order to get through 2023, you had to have just the I don't give a damn mindset. I'm going to keep hustling and keep working and not be afraid of anything. And if you're not thinking about it positively, then it wasn't going to be a good game. So how is it that you've managed to create this aura about yourself to where, nothing seems to phase you when you're doing this stuff?
Dude, great question. And thanks so much. I really do appreciate it. It's nice to hear that, right? You do the things and you stay consistent and you don't think too much of it until it comes up. And then you're like, oh my God, like, yes, I'm getting some recognition. I'm doing something right. And that's what it's about. It's about showing up for others the way that I wish someone would show up for me. And so, it is crazy thinking like 10 years now in, and, now I'm going to be 38 coming up here soon. And it's like, what? And for me, I think once you know where you're headed and you have like the goals and the aspirations and you're like, hey, this is what I want to do, you just keep moving forward in that direction. And then you have to have, what was that book? There's that saying, like the hairy, audacious goals, right? Like having the big goals, the big whys, the big dreams to go where you want to go. And then I think I have to give a shout out to my wife, meeting my partner and my wife now that we've met on Instagram, because I'm this loud guy online, and she had some bot that like commented on one of my posts. And then she started to then actually see who I was because I commented back, and she was watching all my stories, and she really said she loved my energy and put me in the friend zone. I met her twin sister, who is a real estate agent, and said, I just met your future husband and the father of your children. And she finally was like, okay, fine. This guy, he's not going anywhere. And so we have our visions align very well with one another. And so to have that and to serve and support each other just makes it even more fun and exciting. And then and then having contrast in life outside of just real estate marketing, positioning, and a podcast, doing things personally, like some fix and flip stuff we have going on, Airbnb stuff we have going on, that just gives contrast and just makes life so fun to like wake up and be like a kid on let's go.
So you met your wife on Instagram?
Yes,
That's
dude.
awesome,
I met
dude.
her
I mean, you're a full-blown social media life. That's where you get it right there.
dude. And Dan Gandy, the co-host of Real Estate versus Technology, met him on Instagram as well. He slid into the DMs. She had some bot that commented on one of my posts because she set it up looking for like-minded, like people in like the gym space, workout, stuff like that. And then we connected, and then I slid into her DMs, and I would always date younger, and she's older than me, but she knew what she wanted, and she was very deliberate and very focused. And that was something very intriguing to me because I always knew like I was on a mission. And then to now have my partner, the yin to my yang, to like be on a mission with is just like,
no, that's
amazing,
awesome. You can't ask for any more than that. That's amazing. So,
dude, amen.
So how did all this come about? Where was the inspiration for starting what you guys do with Liftoff Agent? You can kind of explain, after we get through that, what you guys do exactly, but where, did you see a gap in the market? Like what brought you to want to do this? Because I feel like starting that, at least looking and listening to your story, has kind of pushed you in, head first into the real estate market in all avenues, and really, made you appreciate the space that much more. So what was it that you felt like this was the place you needed to be?
Dude, I love that. I love that. Well, it's that story that you hear from entrepreneurs, like your back's against the wall, you got bills piling up. Like, what are you going to do to be able to, move forward, pay the rent, what have you? And so I was in this position of doing like personal assistance, jog walking, chores, errands, all these type of in and out odd jobs, because I wanted to do this personal assistance incorporation type company. And I was young and dumb and didn't know what I was doing, and I had no direction. And I was just like, I'm going to serve everybody. Let's do this personal assistance thing. And then I'm like walking dogs and driving people to the airport and scrubbing toilets. And I'm like, what am I doing? And so I'm like, no budget, no money, backs against the wall. I got a 2-bedroom apartment living in Dublin, California. I got a roommate in one room. I'm in the other room. I'm doing like nightclub security and like whatever I can to make money, but still have my days free. So I was a Tuesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, I'm like working these nightclub jobs. And so just trying to make it. And then I stumbled upon a boutique brokerage called J. Rockcliffe Realtors. And that's going to be out of the Bay Area of California, where I used to reside and live. And I started calling. I didn't care to earn any business. I just wanted to give a call, because it's so hard when you have no direction, you have no money, and you can't like run ads, and you have no target. So you're like working with everybody. So finally I just said, let's see about this real estate thing. Let's see about getting more focus. I had a phone number, I had a name, I had an email address. So I met with my current business partner, Smith Chung, who you never see online. He's always behind the scenes. Yeah. I said, dude, I want to send out 10 to 15 emails a day. And I just want to call and ask questions to these agents and find out what they're going through. Right. And then as I was calling, I seen this common kind of commonality. Like, they want to be different from their colleagues. They want the same support from broker to broker, and they want the same support as a top performer. There's a lot of title companies before 2008 where you would have top performing real estate professionals would get ball tickets, or they would take them out to dinner. Like, now title can't even buy a cup of coffee after 2008, all the regulations. Yep. And so I just heard these commonalities. And so I was like, interesting. And then I was thinking like, I could do social media management. So at this time, I'm like, social media management, I could do that, maybe help a little bit with the logo and branding side. Smith and I are still trying to figure out where we're going to go with this. And then fast forward, Smith and I said, hey, like, maybe it's websites. Let's do websites. And then, we'll do also social media with that. And then we kept on meeting more agents, and like 7 to 10, I think it was 10,000 agents later, we started thinking about like positioning and marketing, and found out agents don't have a marketing degree. They don't have a business degree. They take spaghetti and they throw it at the wall to see what sticks. Yep. And they're like, oh my God, I went to this conference and you hear about this new tool? Oh, you hear about this new offer, this new service, this new thing, and new lead? And it's like, whoa here. So we really were like, how do we set an industry standard? How do we help agents get focused? And how do we give them a single solution when I contact, and not sell them, not be salesy, have a family environment, educate first, add lots of value. And then if it makes sense, stars align, they have the budget, cool. Let's work together. So that's kind of how it started, and kind of where we're at now.
Well, it's interesting, and I have this conversation a lot with realtors regarding marketing too. And I always
Mm.
use doctors as an example, because
Okay.
when you come out of medical school, right, and you've gone to or medical school, and then you've done your internship, and
Yep.
all the residency and all the doctor jargon you can do, right? I don't know all of it, but when
Yeah.
you come out of that, and then you go start your own practice, right? You start a business.
Mhm,
Well, guess
mhm.
what? You are a fantastic doctor, right? You're the best doctor that anybody's
True.
ever met. And when you get that patient in the room, you are going to kill it, right?
Yes.
But you're also running a business, and you might be the best doctor in the world, but you may be a terrible businessman, right? And more
Ah,
often than
so
not,
true.
they are, you know what I mean? And it's not because they're, stupid or dumb or bad. I mean, they're doctors, for God's sakes, they're brain surgeons, right? But it's a different modality. It's a different mindset. It's a different
Yes.
way of operating. And if you're not used to that, and if it's not something that you do on a regular basis, or if your brain doesn't quite work that way, then it's
Mhm,
really, really
mhm.
difficult to be able to do that. And I think as it translates to realtors, we have a lot of agents, especially the ones that have been doing it for years and years and years, that
Yeah.
have been doing it the same way, the same way, the same way, right? Or even new people coming in that are being mentored, saying, "Hey, here's the way you got to do. You got to go out there and write those notes, and you got to,
Mhm.
get into your community." And there's a million ways to skin the cat. Like, there isn't any right or wrong
Yep.
way to do it. But
Yeah.
these days, especially, right? Because everybody starts their home search online. Everybody starts looking for things through the internet. And if you're not
Yes.
on the internet, right? If you're like, "Well, I don't want," okay, I mean, that's okay, but you're going to be behind everybody else. And especially as the new generation, look, the baby boomers, they're aging out. They're selling their homes. Some of them, not
Yeah.
enough. They're
We need
starting,
inventory.
yeah, they're starting to move out of that. But the next generation, the Gen Zs, the millennials that are coming up, this is the world that they grew
Mhm.
up in. They grew up with social media, they grew up with the internet, they grew up with email marketing, they grew up with all of this stuff. And
Yeah.
so if you don't know it, or you're not familiar with it, it's a really hard thing to just learn how to do.
Yeah.
And you need to have somebody kind of guiding your hand through the way to show you how to do it. So in your opinion, just on a base level, like when it comes to the general realtor, where do you
Mhm.
think the biggest gaps right now lie in their ability to, and I hate, because everybody's like, you got to be on social media. I mean, there's a million other things too, but websites, branding, all that kind of stuff. Where are the gaps right now that you guys find with your current, clients when they come on board, that you have to fill immediately because there's just deficits there?
Yeah, definitely. So just like so everything shifted. Social media, yeah, you got to be on it, build a brand outside of your broker's brand. And then now there's personalities, and these personalities are on YouTube and they're on social media, and you have the long form, the short form, and all the things. And agents are good with maybe their clients
Yeah.
buying and selling and transacting and going through that process and getting top dollar for a home or negotiating contracts, but maybe they're not the best with social media management or marketing or content strategy or focusing on ideal avatar or putting out content on social media. So yesterday what happened was I had a meeting with an individual that shout out Levi Lassick, living in Dallas, Texas, one of our clients, and also someone that talks really highly about us, referral partner of ours. And so we met with an individual yesterday who wanted to work with us. And so he was looking at options because they wanted to get onto YouTube and they wanted to maximize their YouTube presence. They wanted to passively prospect, put themselves out there, leverage their past efforts for their future successes by advertising and talking about the area that they serve. So I believe they're in New Jersey, close to New York. And so for them, they wanted to put out content on schools, parks, restaurants, area stuff. So then if anyone wanted to relocate or move around in blank city, they can maximize that. So for them, they said, we can film videos all day long. That's not the problem. The problem is the dissemination, getting the thumbnail, the copy, getting the videos out there, getting it consistently out there on a scheduled basis is a hard thing to do. Because what we do and what we recommend is have a filming content day. Mondays is our day here at Liftoff Agent. We have a YouTube channel. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, our videos go out. So we don't say, hey, just get on YouTube and do this stuff.
Right.
We also preach what we're selling. And so
You
that's
gotta have
why
a plan, right? A
we
process
do
and a plan. Yeah.
a process, a plan, and ties into standard operating procedures, SOPs, key performance indicators, KPIs, and then where is this income coming from those activities? So to your point and to your question is, I think agents really need to think about what are they good at and write that down. What do you love to do? Is it something like, Mike Mills loves doing the podcast? The loan
Yep.
thing is something that you do to pay the bills, but the podcast is what you really love. So
Yeah.
what do you love? Lean in on that. And then what do you not like so much? And how do you delegate that? And if you can find a person or a company that can help you scale up and be able to help you film the content if you need help with that, or help you disseminate the content if you don't need help filming the content, or someone to help you organize your thoughts and think about what type of content you need to be filming. Because just like how I said before, I was trying to serve anyone and everyone with personal assistance, and then I got focused with Liftoff on just specifically real estate professionals. Real estate professionals need to do the same thing. They need to focus on an avatar, which is basically the reflection of themselves.
Yeah.
People that like to shop, or cars, or hiking, or yoga, or gym, or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And really go deep on that, and then really go deep on adding value to their specific area that they serve, so they can start to passively prospect and market themselves. So that's the biggest gap. They're not focused, and they're not also thinking about what do they love and delegating what they don't like.
So you said, and I wrote this down while you were talking, because I wanted to ask you about it, and you brought it up at the end. So it's like our brains are on the same page.
Let's go.
But the avatar thing. So I'm hearing, and when somebody hears that, they're thinking James Cameron, big blue people, and they're like, what? I got an avatar. I don't understand. So can you just explain that a little bit more in simple terms? You know, that everybody understands exactly what you mean by that, because I think that is when I'll speak to it myself. When I first heard that term, I was like, okay, great. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to find my personal person, but
there you go again.
But what it is, you know, the more I've looked into it and the more I've really kind of bought into the idea is you're creating the client that you want, number one, and marketing to them. But it goes back to what you said about the focus. You are taking, instead of saying I'm everybody to everyone, because everybody wants, you know, I live in Dallas Fort Worth. So I sell in Plano, and I sell in Mansfield, and I sell in Arlington, and I sell in Fort Worth. And it's like, okay, but you know, or you could just be really focused on what you're doing. So talk about what an avatar is specifically, and why it's so important. That it's almost like a foundational piece that you have to have in order to know what you're doing with everything else, right?
Yeah. And this is where I think the industry is shifting to, because if 90% of the transaction volume is done by the top 10% of real estate professionals, we're going to start to see this shift in being focused specifically in this niche. Because I'm a prime example. Moving from California to Arizona, I basically found some guy. He was on YouTube. He was showing me the area. He was not licensed. I didn't happen to fly out. I didn't have to get a hotel. I didn't have to rent a car. And I could learn about the area to be smarter about that. So when we're talking about diving into avatar, I'll give you a couple examples, brass tacks, take some notes, take this to the bank today. Let's talk recession-proof avatars, okay? If you're in a down market like in 2023, which is hard for a lot of individuals, or even say a recession market in 2008, you got to think about what's recession-proof. Well, people are going through divorces, so your avatar potentially could be people that are going through divorces. Not a fun topic, but people go through divorces. Yep. What about people looking to, say, downsize because they don't need the extra home? We just talked about that here a second ago. But the problem why they're not downsizing is 1, interest rates, or 2, equity in their home, or 3, they don't know what they're doing. So how could you educate the industry or the market for people looking to downsize of 55 and over, say, communities to live to or move to, or taking advantage of, say, a 1031 exchange to be able to not have to deal with the property gains, or, you know, how much equity you've gained over the years. So those are 2. Or what about probate, right? Working with attorneys that deal with probate of people that are unfortunately have been deceased. And so those are just 3. And the 4th one, a huge one, especially for people that are in hot markets for relocation, like Florida and Texas, to name a few, area and specific content around relocation, right? So if a lot of people are trying to get out of California and they want to go to Texas, that's a prime example. So if you were to be more focused with an avatar in mind, an ideal client type, where there's a really good book called The 7 Sugars to Yes, which states if you do something for someone else, they'll be more inclined to do something back for you on a psychological standpoint. So if psychologically you're adding value to someone, and then they're like, oh my God, dude, Mike, you've gave me tons of value. I've been thinking about moving over to Plano, Texas, and I'm in California. I watched a bunch of your videos, and you're my guy. And then it turns into a celebrity fan type thing, where now you're going to be the celebrity. They're your fan, and they're your raving fan, and they want to work with you. And not only do they want to work with you, they're going to want to be on your YouTube channel. And that's exactly what happened to one of our clients in Florida.
Yeah. Well, and the other side of that too is when you get granular, I don't think most people understand how beneficial that is for things
Yeah.
like Google, right? People find you on Google and
Yes.
YouTube because when you are the, whatever, the divorced, realtor, or the single mom realtor, or the transitional, relocation realtor, or whatever, and that's your primary focus. When
Yeah.
people go search for that, right? When they go look for that, if all of your content is based around those keywords, if you're making videos, if your website's set up that way, if you are publishing articles and doing blog posts and whatever. And oh, by the way, there's a lot of ways, because everybody's like, oh my gosh, I can't make videos, publish blog. I can't do all of that stuff. You're right.
Everything.
You can't do anything, but there are a lot of tools these days like AI and other things that have made this much easier. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know that people, I mean, even when I do this podcast, okay, when you and I have this conversation here, I'm going to take the transcript from this podcast, I'm going to upload it to an AI site that I use, and it's going to give me 3 to 5 blog posts that I can do. It's going to give me a YouTube or Facebook post that I can put out, LinkedIn posts that I can put out that I can create. And all I had to do was have a conversation. All we had to do was talk, and it creates all of that for me. And it doesn't take any time at all. So there are ways to do it. But if you don't know this stuff, you haven't, and you don't have somebody showing you the path, hey, here's how you do this, here's how you do this, and picking up these things, then you may be an expert at real estate, okay? And nobody's going to take that away from you because you're the best in your business. But if nobody knows about it and nobody is interacting with you on your expertise in your field, is not going to help, because you could be the most prolific agent in your area, but you have to shift your mind a little bit on how you go about presenting that to people. And that's where you need the help, right?
Yeah, 100%. And think about it. I mean, anyone out there that has a plethora of knowledge, and you were to put this onto, say, YouTube, right? The buying process, the selling process. What does escrow look like? What does average days on market look like in your blank, say, area? Going into sped reports and like inspections and the way to navigate a deal. I mean, you're not taking it with you. God forbid, knock on wood, if anything happens to anybody, it's not going with you. And that's why I love our YouTube channel for Liftoff Agent, because now I'm taking all this information of 10 plus years of being in this industry and thousands upon thousands of agents met, and putting it out there and just saying, hey, here you go. It's free. It's on a silver platter. Like, subscribe. It'd be much appreciated, and enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you offer something of value, people tend to reciprocate, like you said a minute ago, right? If you're not out there, because I think these days, especially what you see when you look online and you go to the Instagrams and Facebooks and LinkedIn's of the world, it is, hey, I'm a great realtor, or hey, I'm a great loan officer. Call me. I'm going to take great care of you. And it's like, okay, well, I mean, so is everybody. It's kind of everybody. Where I started this podcast off of saying, look, our business was oversaturated. We had so many people lending real estate, title, everything related to real estate. There were a ton of people because there was a lot of money to be made inside this industry in the last 2 years. Okay. But last year changed all of that because it just came crashing down. And it wasn't a real estate crash, but it was a transactional crash. The amount of deals that were occurring, housing prices didn't go down because we had no inventory. But the amount of transactions that occurred and the amount of people making money in this space shrunk dramatically. So the people that are still here and that are still slugging along every single day and making it happen, they're all good at that, right? They're all going to communicate well. They're all professionals. They're all good at their job, because if they weren't, they would have been out already, because they lost 50% of loan officers got out of the business. And it's something like 40 to 60% of realtors got out of the business.
Yeah.
Right?
It's crazy.
It's crazy. So the ones that are left are the ones that were good enough to survive. So in order for you to now just being good at your job isn't enough. Now you have to make sure, because the transactions are so few and far between, you have to make sure that when your sphere thinks about buying or selling a home, because people say, well, I sell to my sphere, I don't advertise, I don't do leads. Okay, well, where do you think your sphere's spending all their day? Right? They're spending 20 hours a day on TikTok. So why are you not, there? Why are you not on there? So what have you, especially when you take agents that have been doing things the same way for a long time, is there a way that you take them into okay, let's take the baby step. What's the baby step to just start here? You don't have to go make a 4-hour YouTube video or post dances on TikTok. Fine. But do this. That. What is this? What is that?
I love that. I love that. So this is a prime example of why you have to have a roadmap. And I think a lot of companies out there, are great, right? There's website companies out there, social media companies out there, and they're all amazing. The problem is that, say, there has to be like a life cycle, right? So you start your business out, so you're starting, right? Now it's time to ramp your business up, right? So now you're at a ramp up phase. You're going to, who knows, you're going to hire out a team, do more with that, and then you're going to scale your business up. Now, scaling your business up is like doing the things that you want and not doing the rest, and then having a team, and who knows, maybe you want to travel and sit on the beach and have Mai Tais. So we have that process. So if you're just starting out, then you start up with us. We're just going to do your logo, just do your website, get you focused on your ideal avatar to get you going. And then when you want to ramp up and get into social media production, and okay, now we're going to start to advertise to our actual avatar on social media, on YouTube, and put stuff out there, then we're going to go into that process. So coming soon, just sold, just listed, YouTube video uploads, thumbnail, and copy. And then we're going to scale them up, getting into more of the video editing side. So we have, say, Maureen Davis. She's awesome, prime example, someone who's on our startup program. And she is like traditional. She basically works at a location that she does like rentals. So she's kind of like, she's a traditional real estate agent, but then she sits at this location that is like an apartment complex kind of location where leads come in to her. And so she likes to do it. So she gets to sit on the floor. People come in, they ask questions, plus she's a real estate agent. So they might be in a renting situation, but later on they might want to buy. So she's used this as a vehicle. And so now we got her, she's in the peninsula, she's over in California. Now we got her website, got her logo, got her focused. And then she went from startup to ramp up. And now we're starting to push her in the video world. So we're like, hey, like we're doing your coming soon, just sold, just listed. Congratulations. Now let's get you to start doing some videos. InShot, a really good app to use. You could do say clip 1, 2, 3, 4, and you put it in InShot and you just literally pick it and it just automatically does it for you. Download, upload, no big deal on Instagram. So she was doing some videos around Christmas time. So she's starting to get more comfortable. InShot. Yeah, InShot is the app. It's a really good app if you have, I think it's for Android and or iPhone, but InShot, it's that one that if you're looking online, it's the one there. And then also the Captions app is another good one as well that will do AI editing for captions and zoom in, zoom out, and also imagery on the screen. I use it all the time. And so now we're getting her into doing intro videos. I'm like, let's get an intro video. So if you go to liftsoffagent.com, right here to my left, maybe your right, is a picture of a video of me and walking the people through the process of like, hey, do you want to do a live demo, or do you want to just do a product demo in the comfort of your phone or tablet at home and not talk to anybody? Okay, fine. You have two of those options. Or if you first time you go to our website, or now Maureen's website, hopefully soon, I just met her like yesterday, there's an intro video. Welcome to my website. At my website, you have relocation option, buy, sell options. You could search for homes, set up property alerts, and here's access to my vendors list if you're looking for a painter or this or that or whatever. Like, how are agents turning their websites into resource locations where you can even have a formal listing presentation page? So that's the process of how we do it and how we have that roadmap. So the first thing is like, hey, let's understand who your avatar is. Let's start to build a brand around that. So you potentially can have swag, whether it's pens or lip balm or hats. And I don't have anything right now to show you besides the pen, or stickers, right? So then you could start to have the merch, and you could start to build on the logo, build on the brand, and build on the content serving that ideal person that you want to work with.
Well, and I think another avenue on the website and the building the brand piece that is important for people to understand is the idea these days of third-party validation, right? I had an experience literally today, 10 minutes before we went on, or like 20 minutes. Somebody called me. She told me her name, and we were talking for a minute, and she was asking me a bunch of questions about, you know, getting ready to buy a house and if she should do debt consolidation and whatever. So we were talking about her situation, and we were just like, she was like, hey, can I ask you a couple of questions? I'm sorry to bother you. My name is Kinsey. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And so we started talking, and then we were talking for about 15 minutes or 20 minutes. And she's like, okay, I really appreciate it. And I said, just out of curiosity, like, where did you get my number? Like, how did you find me? And she said, well, I was looking for, you know, how to buy a house. She said, I looked for lenders near me, and she typed that into Google, and she said 2 places came up. She said the first place came up ahead of me, and I won't say their name. And she said they had no reviews, and I couldn't find anything about them. They had a website, and that was it. She's like, and then I found you, and you have a ton of reviews on Google, and you have, you know, I saw you do a podcast and you talk about this stuff all the time. So she was like, so I figured you would know what I'm talking about. So this was a person. She was, I don't know, because we didn't talk about her age, but I'm guessing she was maybe late 20s, early 30s.
Okay.
And just based on what she was telling me about her family and stuff, just getting married, all these kind of things.
Mm.
And we had a great conversation. She was so grateful. And by the end of it, we're getting ready to do an application so we can figure out whether they buy today or not. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But my point of it is that she found me on Google, and she
Yep.
found someone else on Google as well. But because I have maybe more content that's needed, I'm saying to myself at this point, but if I have enough stuff out there that she was able to see, okay, this is a real person. They know what they're talking about. This is who they are. This is that third party validation. So if you don't have a good website, if you don't have any social media presence at all, if I can't find you on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram, and I can't find you, then I'm not finding you on Google either. And if I'm that generation, I can find 10 other people in my area that are going to meet those requirements that I have inside my head. So it just, to me, gives more credence to the fact that whether you think it's important or not, whether you think that whether you spend time on Instagram or whether you spend time on Facebook, your clients are. That's where your clients are. And if they can't find you, then you're not going to do the business.
Yes.
Right?
Let's take it to a whole other level, right? Okay. So they found you online, right? Great. You have the thing set up, because a lot of agents say this, oh, well, I just want to have it out there just so I'm up to date and at least have my social accounts and so on and so forth. Well, if you don't have a video, you don't have any content, you can't build a know, like, and trust on autopilot, then who knows if they're going to reach out to you first off. And then the next step is how do you take what Mike just said to the next level? How do you have a standard operating procedure, like a click funnel type process, where then if they found you on Google, they went to your website, then you have a customer journey, which then they would watch the video. Okay, now after watching the video, they have some more context. And then there's the next step, and then the next step, and then the next step. So not to say that you don't want to have the conversation, Mike, or anyone out there, but imagine the application coming through, because they already went through a process of elimination with your standard operating procedure. And now the application is there, and you're just calling on the app to just take it to the next step. Right. And that's what I think is the next steps for people to understand. When scaling your business, technology, just like artificial intelligence, can help you with that process. But you have to think about, what is the standard procedure, or what is a procedure in general? Because a lot of agents don't think about this. What is the standard procedure when someone works with you from the buy side or the sell side? And if you want to have more confidence coming from your customers, you have to have those SOPs and KPIs, because then they're going to be like, whoa, not only this person been found on Google and has content, and I build a know, like, and trust. Now I'm going through an automated process. Now I'm pre-qualified, and now I'm going to go buy a home, and I did all that automatically.
Yeah. Have you ever read Atomic Habits? I'm sure you probably have.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay. One of my favorite books, but one of the things that really resonates me really wholeheartedly in that book is he talks about goals, but he's like, goals are great. Goals sound awesome, but take your goals and throw them in the trash, because if you don't have a process and you don't build habits to take the steps to get you to those goals, then they're useless. They don't serve you any purpose. So he's like, become a fan of the process, become a fan of building. There's a guy, I talk about him all the time. I've mentioned him before. His name's Naval Ravikant. Do you know who that is? He's big on Twitter. So he actually started Angel Investor, the online, where people can submit business ideas, and he's a Silicon Valley guy, and he talks about leverage and using leverage. And he's got a couple different components of it. He talks about money. Obviously, if you have money, you can pay. He talks about relationships. So employees, people that these are all pieces of leverage that you can use to grow. And another one that he mentions is he talks about coding now, because he's a Silicon Valley guy building computers, et cetera, programs.
Yeah.
So he talks about coding, but he doesn't say this when he talks about it, but I relate it to when you build a process or an SOP, as you call it, and you've created this, you do this, then you do this, then you do this, then you do this. And when you're not engaged in that process, when you have created it enough and automated to a point where you can step back and you come in at one certain point, that is like coding, because what it is it's a process that builds upon itself, that does work while you're not there, while you're not involved, right? So because look, time's the most, I've said this a billion times on here, time's the most democratic thing we have on the planet. We have 24 hours. Everybody gets the same. You can't buy more. You can't sell it. That's what you get, right?
Yep.
You can't sell your time, actually. But, so how you use that time and the efficiencies that you have built into your life to make everything happen. And it's not about, you don't have to be programmed. It's like, I don't want to live my life programmed. It's not that. You actually get freedom. You get a ton of freedom if you just sit down and build processes. But You can do it yourself, or you can bring in people that have gone through the hell of it and said, hey, look, we've trial and errored the shit out of this thing. This is how you do it. You do this,
Yes.
then you do this, then you do this. And that's what people need. So when you guys take, new agents that come into Liftoff and you set them forward, I mean, what are some of the things that you build out for them as far as, we've got to create this process for your business right up front, because these are opportunities that you're missing out on. So what are some of the things that y'all set up?
That's a good question. And, right now what we're up against is that that's the first part of like building a consistent foundation to target the ideal avatar and then starting to get that content out. Like that is like the first hurdle. And so Liftoff is like a 10-year goal, right? And the 10-year goal is like 15,000 agents, and we'll be doing 12 million a month and about 144 million a year. And eventually maybe sell the company. We'll see what happens, but we have to get past the first huddle to get to the second one. Now I will give some examples of some just amazing people that have these standard operating procedures, like Adam Hancock with the Sunshine State Company. He did about $300 million in business from November 2019 to present time, and built his whole entire team, independent broker out of Florida. And also Levi Elastic living in Dallas, Texas, and those guys. And so when an agent can get past just like the building of the foundation and the focus of the ideal avatar, and then start to put together systems and processes, then we get into the process of like we were talking about, like, okay, what does it look like when someone goes to your homepage of your website, and what's the goal? So imagine you, and this is anyone listening, imagine and do this exercise. Go on Google, look yourself up. Imagine you are looking for your own services, and then you find yourself online, and then you go through the process of looking yourself up online, whether it's your social media or your website or your YouTube channel or video and content that you have out there. Watch it. How in sync is it? How organized is it? And does that approach and when you watch yourself make you feel like you want to work with yourself? And so that's where I feel like that's the first step. And then from there, then imagine if they found you online and you had an ideal system, an ideal process, an ideal flow, top to bottom. Top of the funnel, someone on Google looking at you, and then they go through the funnel. Middle of the funnel is them watching a video of the process. Bottom of the funnel is them filling out an application. When they go through that, imagine what that looks like. So then your website could be a key performance indication of that. And that's why we say at Liftoff, your website's your hub. And so leveraging that website. So whether it's a listing, a review, a social post, it all feeds into the site. And then that way, when they go there, the person can go through that process and really be able to make that happen. So right now, we're really, really working on growing the community and pushing our clients as we meet our clients, whether startup once a quarter or every other month on ramp up or every single month on scale up, with getting into those SOPs and KPIs to these agents so they can have more of a standard operating procedure. Because a lot of agents out there, they get a website, they think it's a digital business card or just social proof, and they just want to have it out there. But there's the next steps that they completely forget about. And the best analogy I could use is like you buy a toolbox of tools, it sits inside your garage, and you're just complaining to the manufacturer because the tools don't work. And the manufacturer says, are you using them?
Right. Yeah.
No, I never used them.
They're supposed to just do stuff, right? They're there. They're supposed to fix things. Yes.
Yeah. I thought they just look pretty in the garage there. So that's where it's at. So I think anyone who's watching or viewing now or in the future, it's like, dude, do yourself a favor and do an audit. Do an audit, look yourself up and ask yourself those tough questions. And then you'll be like, oh, okay, shit.
I think that it's a very aha moment for people sometimes when they go on and they're just like, wow, I wouldn't know even where to find, I can't even find me. Right.
Yes.
Like they type in, even when they type in their name, they're like, I put my name in and I can't even, I'm like the 10th one on the list. How is that even possible?
Yes. Well,
for real estate in my area.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm just going to add one last thing to this is that if you're out there and you're dealing with clients that freaking drag you left, right, front, and center, you're walking away from clients that make you feel just absolutely drained, from applications to real estate professionals showing house to house to house, and you can't get clear direction and they're all over the place and you're pulling your hair out, it's because it's a reflection of where you're at.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, if you've you create the life you want, right?
You're attracting the same person you are. You
right.
Get more focused, get more organized, and then you'll attract that. My sister-in-law just went through that and lost a $1.3 million deal because of the fact that the clients dragged her all over the place. And I'm just the brother-in-law, so I don't know. I got Liftoff and a lot of accolades, but still, I'm like, unless that I'm asked, I can't do much to help.
No. Well, it's funny that you say that because that is true. I know a lot of realtors that are kind of, they're all over the map a little bit, which look, we all are. There's plenty of people, it's not just realtors, it's everybody.
People.
But their life's a little bit of in chaos and they tend
Yeah.
to have clients that are a little bit in chaos. And it's like, you guys, the universe is just bringing y'all together, bro. Like they're
We're
just
having a party together, chaos party here.
yes, yes. So, all right. So let's move on to maybe a little bit. Let's call it advanced calculus. Okay. So,
Ooh.
we spent the first half of this talking to people that haven't done anything before and are trying to
Mhm.
figure out how to get off the couch and not get off the couch, but how to get their
Yeah.
business off the couch. How about that?
Yeah, I like that.
So what about the next step of, okay, let's say that you're blowing and going, you're humming along. Are there any new tools or is there anything that's out there that's kind of on the edge of, not very many people are using it and it's a great tool? Like what are you seeing technology wise that realtors that do have their game going and things are moving well that are ready to kind of take the next step? Like what are you seeing out there these days?
So I'm gonna keep it super simple, and it's gonna be the stuff that's already there, but it's the applications of how you're using it,
Okay.
right? So, like, say for instance, give me an example. One thing I'm looking at right now to my left is Calendly.com. It's gonna be CALENDLY.com. Okay, and then Google. I love Google Calendar, and I feel like so many agents don't live and die by a calendar, and the best thing you could possibly say to a client out there is no, not yes. But no, because guess what? People want what they can't have. So the more agents learn to live and die by a calendar and utilize Calendly and send out calendar links to automate their process and their flow throughout their day. Like Ryan Serhant doesn't check his calendar every single day before to set himself up for an intentional amazing next day if he didn't live and die by the calendar. So not rocket science, super simple. It doesn't matter. Microsoft Calendar, Google Calendar, Yahoo Calendar, what your CRM system calendar. Just use your calendar, keep it super simple, and time block. That's where you can time block content filming on a specific day. And then you can time block, say, times to go on showings. You can time block times to be able to create and think about content, or time even with your family. So those are just two things, Calendly.com and a calendar. I love Google Calendar. You can integrate them together seamlessly, and it works really, really well. From there, leveraging the power of social media to let the social media channels, like I would say the biggest channels to use right now is going to be probably Instagram and YouTube. Those are the two biggest ones right now that are the most popular out there. And those two are your top of the funnel. So what you're posting on, say, for instance, Instagram for content staying consistent Monday through Friday, whether it's educational, a story, showing a trip, or showing your day-to-day life of a realtor. And then on your stories themselves, when you are driving to a formal listing presentation, or you're going to an appointment, or you're talking to a client, share that, pick up your phone and just do some behind the scenes. This is what's going on. And I'm doing it with you now, what's going on at the same time. So then that way you can leverage your past efforts, and then you could show people what you're going through out in your life. And then on the YouTube side, you could then be putting out great content around your area to passively prospect and market. And the cool thing is you can put your calendar link on Instagram, on YouTube. And when you're talking about the content you're talking about, you can then direct and drive people to whatever you want. So if it's a long form content on YouTube around area specific content, and you want to get more information about the area, boom, link, click it in here, download guide, area specific relocation guide, right? And then, or hey, directly set up a meeting with me. So I really love for social media is going to be Instagram, short form, go on lives, do the behind the scenes with your stories. I love YouTube for long form, also short form with shorts. That's something that is not being utilized. You can get thousands of views right now on YouTube Shorts, really easy. And I will post a video and I'm like, they got 5,000 views. What in the world? I love that. And then that's what I would really recommend with that. And then, of course, we could talk all the cliche stuff about AI and ChatGPT and all the other things. But, if you don't like writing content, then don't even have AI do it. Hire a company that specifically specializes in your industry and helping you with your niche and disseminating the copy and getting the copy and the thumbnail and all that stuff done. And just be in front of the camera. Just be the celebrity. Just be the realtor. Just be the mortgage professional. Just be in front. So those are just a couple things that I would recommend. Outside of, if you are going to edit your own content, I would recommend utilizing InShot. And I would also recommend the Captions app, because those are two of the apps that I use every single day to do editing, are those two. And I love them.
Yeah. I use CapCut. I like CapCut a lot. It's pretty
Another one.
simple. The mobile use is easy. I will
Yep.
tell you, I just maybe within the last 6 months discovered Calendly and Google and Google Calendar.
See?
It really, man, I will tell you, it makes a huge difference. What it's done for me, and this is just personal, anecdotal stuff,
Yeah.
is I'm a high energy person to some certain extent. I'm always trying to do stuff, get things done. But with the problem with that, and I hate people who are like, I got ADD. Okay, fine, whatever. Everybody's got ADD. But what it is I'm on a task and then my phone rings or an email pops up or
Mm,
whatever, and I get pulled and I'm going in other directions. And what my Google Calendar, my Calendly link has been able to do for me is
mm.
focus, is to take time and say, okay, for the next 30 minutes, I'm doing this thing because I'm
Yes.
going to still accomplish the other thing that I want
Yes.
to do, because I can put it in my task list and I can, at the end of the day, I can go in and sort those and move them to a day
Mhm,
where I can
mhm.
get it done. So it's like, it takes this anxiety off of you where you're like, well, I have so many things. I'm sorry. I got so many things I got to do. I've got so much stuff to accomplish. And you just get like, you have this paralysis because you've got so
Yeah.
many things you're trying to do at once that you don't get anything done. Right.
Yeah.
Versus if I just take care of this thing for 30 minutes and I'll take care of this thing for 30 minutes, and the anxiety of I'm have all this stuff to do. It's fine. You do, but you have it all
Yes.
scheduled. You have it all put together. You've blocked time to be able to accomplish
Mhm,
those things.
mhm.
And that alone, more than anything else, will literally change how you work and what you do if you can
Oh
just
my
focus
God.
on that. I mean, it's
What
crazy how impactful.
100%. I love that. And first thing in the morning, what I'll do is I give myself 2 hours just to do social media. So I'm literally out there liking, following, connecting. And the biggest secret out there on social media, the biggest possible thing you can do
Engage.
is actually engage and
Yeah.
show up and make a meaningful look at the post and look at how many comments those posts get and look at the comments. What is it, an emoji? Like, take the time to actually write a paragraph out.
Yeah.
That will go so far in the mind's eye of the other person that you're reaching out to. It's ridiculous. Or, hey, how about you do a video message to someone? I think I did it to you, Mike, or a voice memo, right?
Yeah.
Outside of just writing something up. And that could be a past client where you're following on social media and they just had a new baby and you're like, oh my God, their baby's so cute. And you do a quick little voice memo or a video memo in the DMs on Instagram and just to maximize those opportunities. So that way I know, okay, first part of my day, I have those 2 hours, non-negotiable. But then if I want, like this morning, to go out with my wife for breakfast, I can switch and pivot and take those 2 hours for breakfast, because guess what? I don't have to be on a call. I don't have to be on a podcast. I'm not speaking on stage. It gives me more flexibility. So I agree. I love that.
Well, you got me on I think I even told you, because when you reached out to me, because we did the podcast before, and then you hit me up and sent me a video message, and I was like, oh, I think I can't remember if I sent some. I don't remember how it went down, but you sent me a video message, and I'm like, oh crap, and so I had to send one back. I'm like, all right, well now I got to do it. Well, since then I've sent out like 20 video messages to people for different things.
Let's
because
go.
like you inspired me. But no, I mean really, like I was like, okay, like this is I gotta take it to another level. And oh, by the way, it's easier. Okay.
Yes.
Like to sit and type out a
easy.
text message or an email and like mess with your you mistype and got to back up or whatever, versus just, hey man, how you doing? Great to hear from me. Because that's how people normally interact anyway. You're not promoting, putting sentences together when you're having a conversation with somebody. So just video messaging alone can literally change your business and change how people interact with you. And I do want you to talk a little bit more about engagement, because I think when I went back to my original question of like, what's the basic thing that somebody can do to start this process and really kind of push their business, I feel like that's probably it. It's the get on social media and just engage. You don't have to post anything if you don't want to, fine, but comment, but really engage. Don't just fly by and do your thing. So talk a little bit about that more.
All right. I got a good one for you all. Okay. So this is a part of the show. You're going to take some notes, and this is what you're going to do. And we're going to focus just on Instagram, just on engaging and being focused on a target. Okay. So you have Instagram, you go into Instagram and you scroll through your activity feed. What are you automatically seeing in Instagram as you scroll through your activity feed? Things that you already like, or things you've already looked at, or things you've already engaged with. So if you're a real estate professional, mortgage professional, maybe it's fine. But if you're a real estate professional, seeing a lot of other real estate professionals on your activity feed, Wrong, stop. That you don't want that, right? Maybe, yeah, because inspiration or their colleagues or, oh, this person does really good content, so I got consumed in it. That's a huge issue. Now, this is what I would recommend that you do for engagement. Okay. So you live in, say, blank area, whatever. We're going to say Plano, Texas. Okay. Go on Instagram and you can do a couple things. You can go into the search feature and look up just your specific area, Plano, Texas, and it will give you profiles and pictures and image and feeds of other people in your area posting things. You can actually search based off just hashtags of other accounts, basically hashtagging your specific area, Plano, Texas, for example. What happens is that as you start going and you look for local, I would recommend local businesses, whether it's a coffee shop, a bagel shop, the local farmer's market, music in the park. There's going to be Instagram accounts for your city. There's going to be Instagram accounts for the farmer's market. There's going to be Instagram accounts for small business owners. Go follow those Instagram accounts. Then look at who follows them. Guess what? Community members. Who are community members? Your potential next buyer and or seller. Go and follow those random people that you don't even know, and then start engaging with them. And then what's going to happen is when next time you go through your activity feed or your explore page, you're going to see a bunch of random people that you have no idea who the hell they are, which is totally what you want. You don't want to be inspired. You don't want people that you know in your feed. You want people you don't know, because then you can like, you can comment, you can be able to start engaging with them and starting new prosperous relationships where hopefully you're posting, you have good content on your own account. So then they'll see your account and see your content and see what you're doing. And guess what? Now you have literally a feed coming into you every single time you're on social media, working for you because you're using the algorithm to show you what you need to see, which is potentially your future client.
Dude, this is why I do these things, because I learn stuff like that all the time. That's amazing. That really is like, that is, I mean, it's genius in that you are, I think somebody here is like, well, I don't want to be fake. I don't want, no. You are engaging in your community. That is what you are doing. Like that. This is the entire point of this, is you're engaging, and you are, I don't think we realize that everybody wants to blame the social media algorithm. Well, the algorithm's this and the algorithm's that. I'm like, you create your own world, man. Just like anything else. Just like when you're walking through your day, if you're feeling miserable, then everything around you is going to be miserable. Where if you're feeling great, then things are probably going to be great. So you can create, if you want to see cats, attack each other online all day long, that's what you're going to see.
Sure.
If you want to see what's happening in your community and you actively engage with, I like this, I comment on this, then it will continue to show you those things.
Yes.
But you have to do it with an intent, with a purpose, as opposed to just mindlessly flowing through this stuff. Because if that's what you're doing, then you're wasting your time. At least if you're going to look at it,
no clear direction. They have no clear direction. If you have random stuff in your feed, it's a key indication. It's a indirect responser of you not having a clear direction of what you want. And a quick side note, it was funny, years back, my wife said something and she saw my Instagram page and saw the explore page, and it was a bunch of girls. And she's all, honey, what are you doing? Is that what you're watching? Is that what you're committed to? I thought I'm your wife. Yada, yada. I'm like, oh my God. Oh, and so it can work against you as well. I was actually talking with our team members at Liftoff. They said the doom scroll. It's like getting caught up in scrolling and seeing this stuff that you're just like, why does this keep coming up? And oh my God, I don't want to see this anymore. Well, maybe it's because there's something in your life that you need to shift on to then be able to see what you want to see. And if you're not mindful and you're not being really like, what's the word I'm looking for? Mindful, but also more deliberate, intentional, then it's like, dude, good luck, man.
Well, it's like the toolbox analogy that you used, right? Social media can be very much a tool, but you have to use it as such, right? If you're taking out the hammer and you're going and killing squirrels with it, okay, that's a dangerous tool. It's not the tool's fault. What are you doing? Okay, it's your fault. You're the one that wields the tool. But if you're using that hammer to build a house, well, now you're doing something constructive with it, and it's a beneficial thing. And that's what all of these platforms are. You can either use them to your own detriment, or you can use them to enhance your life and your career. Because ultimately, why are we working all day anyway? What's the point? The point of working is because you want to provide for your family so you can have enough income so you can live the type of life that you want to live. And that's different for everybody, right? Some people want to have billions of dollars. Some people just want enough so they can go hang out at the deer lease and shoot some deer and have fun with their friends. And that's all they want. There's no right or wrong way to do it. But all of this stuff that we're talking about are all just tools. And it's just about how you use them and how you use them effectively. And listening to listening to podcasts, watching videos, scrolling through social media and finding stuff. This is how you grow your education base, because this is the stuff that keeps you focused. When I usually in the morning, part of my morning routine is I have a Aerodyne bike, one of those, push and kick, whatever. That gets my heart rate up. Got to get my VO2 max at 80% all week or whatever. But while I'm doing that, I am watching one of my favorite people is Gary V. I'm sure you know who Gary is.
Yeah,
right? So, and all I'm watching is him talk about stuff, but it gets me so like fired up to do to grow my podcast, to grow my social media platform, because of what it can do for your business. And the point is I put that in front of my eyes every day, because that is what keeps me motivated. I used to wake up in the morning, have a cup of coffee, and scroll through the news. And I would look at politics, and I would look at all kinds of stuff. And that shit's depressing, right? So when you see that stuff every day, if that's what you're spinning and putting your eyes on every day, then that's the type of world you're going to create for yourself. I call it politics porn, because I love it. Don't get me wrong. Like, the drama of it's awesome. But it would be such a drag on my day, because it set me off in the wrong headspace. It would put me in the wrong place to start my day off. And just tweaking it a little bit and changing, okay, instead of watching, whatever stupid news channel and see who's fighting over what presidential candidates and whatever, I would shut that off, and I would go, okay, let me go watch somebody who's the most positive human being I've ever heard before, and listen to what he has to say. And then now when I'm finished riding my bike, I've got my endorphins and my blood's flowing. I've sit and watched an hour of Gary V, and I'm ready to go kill it. And I think, you can, again, this goes back to, you can create what you want to create in the world that you're trying to put in front of you. If you don't want to be upset and miserable, then you don't have to be. You just got to create that world for you. And that comes with how you use the tools that you're given every day.
100%. And anyone who's listening right now or viewing this, it's for a reason, right? I don't feel that there's coincidences. I feel like things happen. They happen the way they're supposed to happen. You're on our podcast. Now we're on your podcast, and we're giving to this amazing real estate industry. And so that's why I feel like whoever's listening should take this to heart and really be able to say, like, now's the time. Let's go.
Well, we're almost at our time, but before we go, I want you to just tell us a little bit more about Liftoff Agent, so everybody can know how to reach you, what you guys ultimately do. If you have any, you've mentioned a few people as we've gone through this, but if you have any, success stories of somebody you want to share that's really taking advantage of what you guys have helped out, here's the time. Let us know a little bit about that.
Dude, I love that. I love that. And the one thing I want to say too, I just want people to realize that when you're deliberate and you know where you're going, and you are like on a podcast like I'm right now, like, this is an amazing opportunity. And I'm very grateful, Mike, that you gave this opportunity to us and to me and our team. And so as I'm talking throughout the process, I've been dropping hints, right? I've already been talking about startup, ramp up, scale up. I've been already talking about our services and what we're doing. And it's because I'm in line with my truth and where I'm going. And I know how to navigate, to give stories, and to talk about what I'm talking about in line of what I'm doing. So once you're clear about what you know, what you want, and you're going where you want to go, every single action or inaction will be directly in line to where you're going and what you want to have in your life. So you got to think about that. If you want to, check me out personally and see who my daughter is and my wife is, and Liftoff and the podcast and all the things, it's just at Mr. Liftoff. Go on Instagram at Mr. Liftoff. In my subject line or in my bio, all the links to all the things are right there. And whether you want to start up, ramp up, or scale up, no obligation strategy session, say that you're on this podcast, we'll give you 10% off. Thanks to Mike. And then if you want to check out another podcast, Real Estate First Technology, coaches, real estate professionals, top performing real estate professionals, and technology providers are on that show. There's a couple wild cards as well. Check out Mike's episode. He was on, and that was a great episode. We're going to get you back on. And our goal is just to serve and support and show up for others out there in this industry, and hopefully curve off 5 or 10 years of growth, right? So you can check out Adam Hancock, Sunshine State Company. It's called a Florida Relocation Guide on YouTube, or check out Living in Dallas, Texas with Levi Lassick and also Travis. And then Christopher Long's one of our newest clients, who did exactly what I said earlier. He set up a strategy session. He was already a fan of ours and watched a bunch of my YouTube videos. And by the time it was almost over and I was going to give him the link, he's like, already watched like 11 of your videos. I subscribe, notification bells on, and I tune in on Tuesdays and Thursdays for your videos. I'm like, what? So that's a prime example of someone watching, digesting, learning, understanding. And our niche is super small just for real estate professionals. So, I can't get caught up in the views and subscribers, because that's not the point. The point is just to serve and show up and just one person. That would be awesome. So yeah, that's everything I have, man. Thanks so much for the opportunity.
Well, Norman, like I said, and like I told everybody in the beginning, to say that you don't bring a high energy level to anything that you do would be a disservice, because man, you're
Let's
one of the
go.
few that I meet that everything's awesome, and you live that and you feel that, and I think it reflects in your business. And those of us that walk through and we all have bad days. Like, everybody has a rough day all the time. It's you can't be sunshine and rainbows 24/7, but you also have to be constantly striving to be that way, because if you're not, then again, it goes back to the theme of what we were talking about. The world is what you create. And
Yes.
if you want to be successful, whatever that means to you, by the way, but if you want to be successful and you want to push your career in that direction, then you have to constantly be pushing and looking and using tools that are going to keep you going that way. And anytime you get off that path and you're having that bad day and you keep trudging down that road, then it's not too long before you end up in a place that you don't want to be. And and I think you live that every day. And I think people that watch and see the stuff that you guys are doing, I think they're going to be incredibly, not just, and I don't mean inspirational in a woo sense, but just like, hey, let's go. I mean, David Goggins is. Are you familiar with him?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
another dude, man. Guy's running next to his car, dropping F-bombs at you, telling you to get your ass out of bed, put your shoes on, and go. Like, let's go. Who's going to carry the boats? Like, one of my favorite guys. So, you're in that mold, and I really appreciate you coming on. I love these. I mean, these conversations get me riled up, so I'm ready to go. So, thank you, Norman, for your time. Thanks for everybody that stuck around and watched us the whole time. This will be on YouTube, and if you missed it, you can catch it on YouTube or Spotify and Apple tomorrow. We'll have it put up there, or you can visit our website, TexasRealEstateFinancePodcast.com, and we'll have it all there as well. So everybody out there, I hope you have a great weekend. Keep grinding away. The weather's getting a little better out here, and we'll attack it next week. Thanks, Norman.
No worries. Thank you.